and welcome back to Dukascopy TV. I am Monica Gibson. With me in the studio now is Philippe Froehlicher from FGP. Philippe, welcome to the studio.
Thank you for inviting me back.
It's lovely to see you. Now, we're based here in Geneva. We're talking from Geneva, but we can talk about the impact of the ECB, the European Central Bank's actions on the global markets and also markets here. So just looking this week against the dollar, the euro dropped to 128, the first it has done in around 14 weeks. But what is the feeling here towards the ECB's actions and indeed also, of course, the euro Swiss franc?
Many questions. They are all related to each other, that's true. Let's first start by Mr. Draghi's decision and statement regarding the policy. He said a sentence that is quite accurate, and I think we have to take it for what it is. He said monetary policy needs to be complemented by a strong and credible mix of fiscal policy, structural reforms and investments. And these are the three pillars. Monetary policy over the last few years cannot take the liquidity trap in which the European Union is. It needs more. Velocity of money has been declining and has reached a level similar to the 30s. And this explains also that why monetary policy so far has not generated inflation.
Indeed. Now, if despite the sort of doom and gloom, the difficulties, some analysts are saying that banks, both in debt and equities, are going to be the sort of the biggest beneficiaries. Was that something that you would agree with, Philippe?
So, in a nutshell, yes, banks are an attractive sector. Usually we don't give investment advice, but definitely Italian banks, especially the most solid and well-run banks, such as Intesa or Mediobanca, look attractive from a valuation point of view. French banks, BNP, definitely has also room for improvement. And then the Spanish banks, unfortunately, they have also the same profile, but the market has already anticipated a lot in the normalization process. If you like risk, then you could also look at Russian banks, especially the leader, Sberbank, which has been hit by the macro risk, but fundamentally the bank is very solid. In Switzerland, UBS is definitely a trading stock. So in the range between 14, 15 on the lower end and 20, 22 on the higher end, you can play this name. However, it is extremely unlikely that we'll see UBS trading at the 80 level we used to have in 2007. The multiple was much higher, but also, unfortunately for shareholders, the dilution has increased dramatically. So don't be too aggressive on these names, but 20-25% on average is possible.
It certainly sounds interesting. That question over normalisation is, one which is quite a quandary. But if we look even over to the US, and it seems as though there's nothing really to stop the US dollar apart from the market's own exuberance, if you like. With that in mind, is it fair to say that the trend is your friend at the moment?
Yeah, in currencies, definitely, usually the trend is your friend. And the least resistance today is definitely to be long the US dollar. But definitely over the next few weeks, there's a higher probability to go to 120 than to go back to 140. Some people argue that the European Union cannot stay together, that the euro has to become much weaker, and finally the central bank, the Swiss central bank, will relax its floor at 120. Personally, I don't think that will be the case, and for several months now they have been preparing for this ECB decision. And the big problem for the Swiss National Bank is they have to intervene and accumulate euros.
Well, that 120 cap is something which has been talked about greatly. But Philippe, it's been a pleasure to hear your insights today. Thank you very much for coming in and joining us. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica.
Thank you. Okay, well, that's all from Philippe and myself for the moment. But make sure you keep joining in and tuning in to Dukascopy TV. Goodbye for now.